Good evening from New York. I'm Antonia Hilton in tonight for Chris Hayes. Every day, the immense financial and moral costs of Donald Trump's war come into sharper and sharper view. All week long, we've been telling you about the saga of the USS Abraham Lincoln, one of the biggest symbols of American military might, whose 5,000 sailors and Marines are in crisis, at war, and at sea since last November. Their tour extended twice. No port calls, no land. Families tell MS Now the crew has gone hungry, without showers or mail, basic toiletries or hot water or drinkable water for long, long stretches, as the fleet can't keep up with the increased logistics of an open-ended war. And many service members are in a mental health crisis. Multiple Lincoln sailors have jumped or attempted to jump overboard. The wife of one showed MS Now a text in which her husband wrote in the days before he jumped, "The boat is finally getting to me." The mother of another sailor told MS Now that the problem is not the ship, it's their leaders.
What I want people to know is how would you feel if that was your kid over there, right? And I've heard people say this about Trump and his son. Send your son over there if this is all okay to you. And I don't disagree with them. How would you feel if that was your son over there? How would you feel if this was you over there?
Where is the president on all of this? Yesterday, we heard from Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, who denied there were any problems on board the Lincoln, a claim directly undercut, by the way, by the fact the Navy prepared to redirect another aircraft carrier, the USS George Washington, from its station in the Pacific to relieve the Lincoln. A move that will then mean that the U.S. has no carriers left behind in the Pacific for the foreseeable future. So every choice, big and small, made by this administration in the midst of this war comes with a cost. Have those costs registered with Hegseth's boss, the commander-in-chief, though. Trump hasn't been as eager as usual to perform for reporters and the cameras in recent weeks, and perhaps that's because he gets questions about this war anytime he gets in front of a mic. Remember, people around him say that he's been getting bored with this war that he started. Earlier this week, he was telling Axios that he's, quote, low-keying it. But today on the tarmac, Trump stopped in front of the cameras to talk up the economy, and he could not avoid a reporter's questions about the USS Lincoln.
What else do I have to say? That ship is cooking right now, and what he's doing, they have to replace it with another very similar ship. No. Not nearly long enough. That ship is
Not nearly long enough, says the president. Hegseth, indicating a military blockade of Iranian ports could go on indefinitely. The thing is, ships require maintenance. Munitions get depleted and destroyed.
Good evening. This is Elder G. God can woke us up one more time. God can start us on our way. And I hope and pray that God can close us in our right mind and all our limbs are working properly. See, this is what black people has been trying to tell people ever since we was brought here as slaves. Just think about from 1619 to the late 1800s that we wasn't allowed to go to school. We wasn't allowed to bear arms. We wasn't allowed to practice our own religion. We was hung for looking at a white woman. These prejudiced white people don't care nothing about nobody. These prejudiced white people are really savages. Everything that they try to call someone else another race, that's exactly what they are. That prejudiced white man, he wouldn't even let his wife own land. He wouldn't even let his wife open my bank account. He wouldn't even let his own wife smoke in public. That's how treacherous these people are. These people sail all the way across the ocean to come here and to slaughter people that's already here and take their land. And after they killed millions and millions of Native Americans, then they went to Africa and hunted us down. Men, women, and children. These prejudiced white men has got rabies right now. They don't have no respect. They don't have no honor. They don't have no respect. You gotta watch out for yourself. Cause these prejudiced white men will kill you. These prejudiced white men will hang you. These prejudiced white men will castrate you. I'm telling you what I know. I came from Alabama, rural Alabama, where they had a black and white swimming pool. This stuff is serious. This is not a joke. Remember when Trump went to visit at the military cemetery and it was raining and he wouldn't go to the cemetery because it was raining? And he said that all those people, those soldiers that were laying out there, they dead. And he said that they was all suckers and losers for giving up their life for America. You know why he said that, don't you? Because blacks are here. Mexicans are here. Native Americans are here. President Trump is one of the most evil men I have ever known personally. I don't know no one in my lifetime. Now, George Wallace was bad now. But George Wallace, he didn't hunt down people. He just didn't want you going to certain areas. Donald Trump will hunt you down. He'll send you to war. And he'll give his son government contracts for billions and billions of dollars while your sons and your daughters die and starve to death and commit suicide. 77 no good Americans. They knew who Trump was. Because Trump had already did 4 years where he was impeached twice for misconduct. And after he got out of office, he was convicted of sexual assault. He was convicted of 34 felonies. His company has been convicted of fraud. And these prejudiced people of all races that support this evil, they're the one that got your sons and daughters starving out there on those ships. They're the one that got you paying a higher price, not just them 77 million people. The people that control the House, that passed that big, beautiful bill, that cut SNAP for low-income people, that cut grant to minority college so minorities can get a good education, that cut the Department of Education all the way down to the bone, that cut $1 trillion out of Medicaid so people that work 40 or 50 years and they can't take care of themselves no more and their family can't do it. He cut that to give money to Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. Just think about that. He The sailors are going hungry, and he spent $45 million of our tax dollars to celebrate his birthday. His next birthday, he did a UFC fight where he spent $61 million of taxpayer money to put on a UFC fight. He painted the reflection pool halfway, just put some paint on top, $16 million. $5 million, he overlaid statues with 24 karat gold while your sons and daughters are dying and starving on a ship. What kind of people are you are? You are definitely not godly. You are definitely not godly.